Ag PhD full episodes and more are now available on Acres TV, the newest ag platform connecting you to fields of information. Look for us on watchacrestv.com.
During our Farm Basics time today, we're going to talk about soil compaction.
Well, when you think about compaction, it's something packed together very tightly. That doesn't exactly sound like the kind of soil you want to grow things in, and you're absolutely right about that. We need to have a good amount of air in the soil, but when soil does get smushed together and compacted, it's a real problem. So as a farmer, we need to look at, okay, how did it happen and what can we do to fix that?
So when we're referring to soil compaction, it could be everything from there's just a little bit of firmness in the soil, what we would consider excessively. But then the other side of it is maybe it's a layer that plant roots cannot penetrate through. Now, there is a tool called a penetrometer that you can stick in the ground to see how hard is that compaction layer. But the problem with that is the drier the soil, the more firm it's going to be. And the wetter the soil, the easier it is to go through. But nevertheless, we want to identify where are those compaction zones and then fix them.
The challenge with farming is you've got to drive a tractor through the field to pull the planter or to do whatever job you're trying to do. And wherever you drive equipment in the field, you're going to have tire tracks. And the amount of pounds per square inch that the tractor puts on the ground, well, that's going to create some compaction. Obviously, there are things we can do to lighten that up by letting air out of the tire so the tire spreads out more, or switching from tires to tracks to spread that pattern out and put less pressure down on the soil. But nevertheless, you're going to have some compaction wherever tires drive through the field.
Now, think about it. On the farm, equipment seems to get bigger and bigger and bigger. You can look at that two ways. Either one, we have heavier equipment, and that's true, or two, like on our farm now, we have a 120-foot spray broom, 120 feet. So we don't have to have very many tire tracks through the field. So, I mean, there's good and there's bad with that. But to Darren's point, there are ways we can lessen that load as we're going across the field. And we prefer to drive on the same tracks all the time. I get this question quite often. Should I create new tracks or drive in the same tracks? Always drive in the same tracks. Most of the compaction is done with the first pass anyway. Just keep going in those same tracks and then we'll fix those tracks later on.
And if it's wet and you have to be out in the field for harvest and you just can't, there's no way to avoid it, that's when you see some deeper compaction, some deeper ruts being made out in the field. If farmers can time it so they're out in the field when it's drier, well, then there's less chance of compaction, but you're still going to see some.
Once a farmer has created deep ruts like Darren has talked about, and unfortunately it's happened to all of us, then we have to go out and do some tillage to get that corrected. Now, it's not ideal. I don't want that to happen, but we don't farm in a perfect world, so sometimes we basically have to mud things up out in our fields. But yeah, we go out and do deep tillage. That definitely helps.
The other thing, when you speak about tillage can cause compaction.
Yep.
If you're doing tillage at, say, 6 inches every year with the same tool, always 6 inches, well, what generally happens is you create a hard pan right underneath that 6 inches of tillage. So for farmers, it's important to do a little digging out in the field and see where is a compaction layer, how deep is it. Then if you're going to do some targeted tillage, make sure you're going just beneath that compacted layer.
Now, to reduce the chance of having any hard pan, we don't want to do tillage super often, ideally. We want to have great drainage. That may mean tile in the ground, building organic matter, having high calcium levels like 70-75% calcium in the soil. All those things will help.
Well, compaction is when soil gets pressed together hard from tire tracks or from tillage. It's important for farmers to break that up so the roots don't have any restriction as they grow down. Well, one other thing that can be a problem out in fields, in addition to compaction, is weed control. And our weed of the week is no exception. It's a tough weed to control. We'll explain how to stop it later in the show.